Hello everyone on YouTube and those of you watching and wanting to know what's happening with the collective energy at the moment. For those of you that don't know, I'm a psychic medium, as well as I channel the astrology and I study aspects of Western astrology. If you are wanting a booking after this, and this is quite an important aspect that's coming up, and I did date it on this occasion, more from the perspective that we have some interesting transits happening at the moment with Venus. We also, with what's going on in the collective, there's very unique placements. I'll wait for people to connect, obviously, because I'm doing this live. And if you do feel after this video this information resonates with you, or you feel it's important for this point for anyone, please, after the video, directly do comment. Because it does generate the energy through the actual algorithm of YouTube. So nevertheless, we'll wait for people to connect, and I'll say a very quick hello. Currently, we do have at the moment Venus in shadow, and when we do have Venus in shadow, it can become very malefic. I did do some updates on Facebook, and I've been trying to spread my time between getting, private readings done. We're also going to be having we're going to be having Mercury in Cancer. What date does that enter? Where did I write it? Let me look. Did I write the date down? June 18th, but we're going to move into that shadow energy. Now, when we move into the shadow energy, hi, sweet, what you do tend to get is we've got two aspects going on. Shadow energy can be a bit complicated, and it can be at the moment that a lot of you are feeling very, very confused. Now, the confusion energy is due to the fact when we have the Venus retrograde energy, it's currently in Gemini. Also, when it moves into shadow, it does become malefic. Now, what I mean by that, and it's funny because I only did the energy reads for all the Zodiac signs. So, your best bet is when you've watched the videos, always go back and actually relook at it and see how it resonates. And do look at your sun, moon, and Venus. When I mentioned in those videos, a lot of the times I was mentioning Scorpio. I don't know what's up with Libra and Scorpio energy. Now, Venus does link to Libra. The Scorpio aspect is when we go into shadow of Venus, what does happen is both masculines and feminines, and it come through in the twin flame read, we both have the Scorpio energy, and I have pulled a ruin for the Sagittarius eclipse and for the energy through this transit of those dates I've directly connected. What happens is we go down into Mars energy. So we go to the underworld, which Neptune's going to go retrograde this month. It's going to be in Pisces, which is crown chakra. It's our psychology. We've got Black Moon, Lilith, and Pisces till the end of the year in Western astrology. We also do have Venus moving to the underrealm. So things that are, and when you look at Mars, we link Mars to police, government officials, military. So, look at the wounds that are coming up in the collective. Now, heeded warning is the ruin is even coming through saying exactly the same thing. And those dates I've given, what you do find is because it's going to be squaring the moon, and Venus is also going to be squaring aspects linked to Mars, it is a very highly amped and dangerous time, energetically connected to astrology. And this is for entertainment purposes only, YouTube. So I'm going to read the ruin, what this links to, okay? And I was like, I need to understand. Now, this is a very complicated ruin. Now, it does link to obstinate, black, Nor, and water. And we are going to be having an eclipse in Cancer. And I'm going to just type 1 just in case the feed has stopped. No, it has. Hi, Stella. Now, the dates you do need to be mindful of is... Let me look. Where did I write them? Okay, Venus, pretty much from now through to the 15th, I'd say. When it does come to feeling like things make sense, it's very karmic. So what can happen during Venus in shadow is it does really link to karma, and very heavily so. And I did listen to an astrologer the other day, and he was talking about what does tend to happen. And they can actually be global events that occur to balance the situation, very much outside of our control in a sense that we need to do anything. It's more, it energetically happens. And, some of the examples I heard were quite profound, where no, this person didn't have to do anything. It was actually divinely guided and occurred. So if you feel at a high frequency level, wherever that placement falls for you, you will find that if something ill has happened to you, Venus is really bringing these energies up. So you may notice if you're looking at news and media, information that has been hidden is coming to the forefront because we currently have the nodes in Gemini. Also, if our day-to-day energy at a lower frequency has been utilised, again, because it's in Mercury, Venus is in Mercury energy of communication, it will be coming out to the open because we're going to the underworld and it's coming out. So it's a lot of disclosure coming up, and it is very karmically linked. Now, with this ruin, it's sort of like the game of fate. It really does link to you don't know what you're going to get with this situation. It can link to the witch's cauldron. It's also, how do I explain it? Because it has so many connotations, there's so many ways this energy can go. Since the meaning has remained a mystery or a secret for so long, it seems appropriate to accept it is the ruin of mystery. Where am I? In a wayward ruin. Every ruin masters who progresses along a path of knowledge with the ruin as a guide will find particular significance in the ruin and will invest in its meaning at a spiritual level. You'll connect the dots as to what you feel it means. Although standing on its side, it is clearly a container of some sort, like a purse, a cup, a wound, or a virgin. All vessels and hollow, be they the cups are carved, are symbols of feminine principles. Well, the energy of the eclipse is going to also be, any moon energy is always linked to moon, which is Cancer. We also have the nodes in Cancer. We also have Venus in shadow, which again is, is feminine, it's luxury, it's romance. And again, the sun energy is more, we'll get to it anyway. So it's a lot of things have been coming up to do with family and feminine. Let me get to the next page, and forgive me because I do need glasses right about now. Inside they are dark and secretive, their contents mysterious. Pharaohs look like nothing so much as a cauldron. So pharaohs looked upon this as nothing such as cauldron. When it's turned on its side, cauldrons, there was one piece here I wanted to read to you, so I'm scanning. Okay, so this is connected to mystery, chance, unpredictable events, sexual encounters, unfolding, karmic, fate, feminine, mystery, and incubation. In the reverse, which it technically isn't, it's looking to the past. Irritation, fair, vulnerability, ill fortune, preferably, yes, Sally. Faults, mistakes, exposed. There was something else that was written here. It is simply a matter of chance in which we play no active part, hence the association with the dice, games and chance. But the fate is our every thought and action is stirred into the cauldron by our own hands, and as unwilling and unwittingly bruise our fate. The way they described it is, even if you do or don't do anything, there is something of a collective nature that's going to occur that is not necessarily that it is destined to happen, but when it does, destiny occurs due to it. And I think we know what we're talking about here. Now, speaking in layman's terms of male and female energies collectively, be it twin flame, soul, or whatever the energy is, males and females, there's two separate roles going on in the collective at the moment. We do have the eclipse in Sagittarius, which is masculine. Mars actually can directly link to masculine energies as well. Currently, we do have Chiron in Aries. And the energy of Aries can also be linked to military, police officials, etc. So, with a lot of what's going on with masculine energies, there can be this push-pull, very dark night of the soul energy, really looking at what they want to fight for, but bringing something energetically to a close. Now, with Sagittarius, generally in layman's terms, past life energy or current tense, it can be religious energy. So it can be Christians, Muslims, Catholics, etc. So a lot of the nodal energy will be moving us into looking at things from a different perspective. But currently, it's almost like masculines and feminines are doing things very separately and differently. With Venus at the moment in shadow, feminines are really going to the underrealm. So if anything, there can be situations that occur outside of our control that will change the hands of fate. But again, we do actually call this energy with the shadow of Venus being very, very karmic. So like I said, if you've been operating at a higher frequency, bloody flies, honestly, then you'll find that there can be justice that's coming for you that you absolutely need to do nothing for, but there can be a changed event. And I do really feel this is really linked to the entire month. But it is a very cautious state where you guys do need to be very mindful of how aggressive the energy can be over the next week, even potentially halfway through the month. So at a very high volatile level, cognitively speaking, some people may accidentally place themselves into danger. But it is very volatile. Now, I have done a video on YouTube that linked into all the eclipses. I may very quickly rattle off each one where it's going to be. For Leo, this is your luck house. This is your 5th house. There can be an ending connected to this and something coming up of the nature of romance, birth, children, and luck. And you guys need to be mindful of that. Okay, so if there has been an injustice, I'm feeling as though you guys are going to gain some sense of balance, but there is something of a nature of paperwork, maybe at a very karmic level that's getting tied up, that does need to cycle out. Now, as it comes to finances and growth, after this transit for the next 6 months, you guys will be working in that area and it will actually kind of balance and move things forward. For those of you that are Virgo, yours is in your home sector of the 4th house. Now, the 4th house can be, and remember, we've got the nodes there for a while. So Sagittarius and this energy is going to be sort of there, although I'm mentioning 4-6 months till December the 14th, because that's the next eclipse we'll have in Sagittarius. What you will find is, because the nodes are there for about a year and a half, this will be a common theme that you guys are looking at and transforming. So an old way of doing things with these placements, you won't move away from it totally. You're going to, your belief systems, how you've been dealing with it will totally change for the rest of your life. It will evolve and transform. For Virgos, your 4th house placements there. So your belief systems surrounding home, surrounding your psychology, getting your routine in order. There can be some things on the home front and cleaning up and things to that degree you guys will be doing. This is really you moving into your Emperor energy. It can also relate to an Emperor. This can be a sibling, because Sagittarius also deals with siblings. It can be situations outside of you. So all of these placements can also have connections to siblings. Teachings, lessons, finances, growth, as well as the direct house placement. So Virgos, you guys do need to be very mindful. And again, I would definitely suggest or recommend abstaining to keep yourself grounded through the next 2 months, because all of us collectively, with Neptune retrograde, it's Pisces, it's very crown chakra, and minds and emotions can be coming up. So to keep grounded and understand, it's really a great time to journal, great time to clear your house. Definitely doing like home clearings. With the home clearings, because you will find things to the effect of jinn removal. Psychic attacks can happen around this time due to the fact that our crown chakra is open, Neptune's in retrograde. Not the best time to launch new businesses. You can almost want to swap and do something completely different. And the analogy I use is like saying you're a hairdresser and saying, okay, I'm going to be an astronaut. It's like it's just not going to happen right away overnight. Gemini is about lessons and learning and education and, more local energy. So in effect, because Jupiter is in Capricorn, hi Dale, it'll be hard work. And you've got such a short space of time while Jupiter's there. In 2021, it's moving into Aquarius. So if you've already started something and you're fine-tuning it, it's more beneficial. But if you're starting something new right now, it's almost like getting on the back of the train and trying to catch up. It's going to be very frustrating. So keep whatever you got going on going. Maybe start that direct foundation, but don't expect like massive growth in 24 hours or 6 months, because the aspect of Capricorn can create a little bit of adversity, but we are moving out of it. So for you guys, your psychology, something to do with psychology, maybe speaking your truth, creating healthy boundaries, looking at what your home means to you and if something's coming up. But also that's going to be changing over the next 6 months. So 4th house placement of home, things can be changing. Does your home resonate with you? Do you need to change, etc.? Emperor energy is coming up. So it can even be you moving to a higher position. And, you know, what would that mean? Is everything sorted at home? Have you come to terms with things at home? And are you now ready to move out of that and look at it potentially from a different perspective? Libra, your energy of Sagittarius is falling in your communication house. I just love that one, because I'm a Libra and I've got Cancer rising and I've got, you don't even want to know. Anyway, for those of you that are Libra, yes, definitely, Mercury's going to be retrograde. It is in Cancer. Cancer for you guys falls in your 10th house of your career sector, but with the Sagittarius eclipse is falling in your communication house. So again, communication house is Mercury. It's got Sagittarius there. So financially, if there's something you're tying up in a sense of paperwork, there can be people needing you, connected to family. So there can be a lot of communication on social media. You're also going to find that at a level of you looking at growth and what you want to do, some of that's fine tuning. Finalize what you're doing now. Yes, tweak it, but I do feel a lot of changes coming in that sector. So for you guys, you could have a lot of downloads, but it's like really tying up loose ends, achieving your targets and doing what you need to do. And again, it can relate to day-to-day routine, movement, very Gemini kind of connection to it. You can be extremely busy, but try and tie up those errands, try and keep grounded. And again, these eclipse energies will resonate for 6 months and beyond. So these placements, it's very handy to actually save this video or write it down somewhere where you can come back and directly refer to it. So for you guys, a lot of changes in your 3rd house are coming, which again, 3rd house is your communication sector, the way in which you express yourself, short journeys, and your local area around you. Now, the card you have is the 2 of Wands. Okay, so you may actually be seeing how maybe you didn't look at something. And maybe some of these old ideas can be coming back and you can be looking at it very differently. Again, it could be because of the 3rd house, which is Gemini orientated, and it does have Sagittarius. So there could be some great ideas that you have at the moment when it does come to business, when it does come to what's going on. And maybe you could even be looking at direct locations and how you can balance things around. But it's bigger picture energy coming up. This will be changing for the next 6 months. So don't feel that automatically something can come up directly on the eclipse. For me, we're already at the 5th. It can be either side. Again, we'll also find weather patterns will be changing through this because we have Neptune going into retrograde. We also have Mercury energy and Moon energy. So overall, this can be for global events at the weather level as well as at an energetic level with aggression and situations like this. This is one of those months that's going to change all of us. But no, this is going to pass and we can actually get it through. And if you're needing a booking, you know where the link is. So for you guys, all of that, there will be massive growth in that area, but it's tying up the loose ends. It's also linked to Jupiter. So maybe not launching things right now, waiting till after, but closing those cycles out and getting things in order. For Scorpio, you guys have Sagittarius in your 2nd house. So that if you're having assets and things to the degree that are falling down, breaking and not working, don't be surprised. Technology and things can be breaking down around this time. And it doesn't have to be that. It can also be where you feel you've outgrown some of the things you have and you're setting new intentions and you're thinking about the things that you want to invest in. Over the next 6 months, these things can come to you, providing you gain the download and you look at what you'd need to do to change that. This is also linking into professional resources and, you know, really going back on what do you have? What do you have at your grasp? What can you do? It can link to self-esteem as well and self-confidence. And there can be some massive growth coming through in that department. For some of you, you may wish to actually brush up your resume and look at things to that degree. And during this retrograde of Jupiter, because it's an eclipse in Sagittarius, it's almost giving you a warning. Start preparing it, because things are going to be moving, so be prepared for this new energy coming in. You do have the Nine of Pentacles. Now, overall, you need to actually give yourself more credit, because I do feel if you're needing maybe resumes or references, I do feel if you look through, it's important that you can look through your references and see who maybe will vouch for you, but also you could actually be handpicked in certain situations as Jupiter goes direct. Making closure with these points. Your career sector is quite large moving forward. But again, there can be a lot of expenses that are going to come up, so it is a good time to actually maybe start planning for those things, start budgeting for those things, because I do feel you guys are going to get quite a lot of white goods and new things that you're actually desiring. This can also be a vehicle because it's in your asset house, but it is with all the Gemini energy. With Gemini for you, 9th house. You guys moving. Okay, Aries, you guys. 9th house. Well, we just mentioned 9th house. Okay, some of you might have some views that are really changing. This can relate to religion, education, foreign countries, travel, and purpose. To balance it, you need your 3rd house, which again is the Gemini. So for some of you, a lot of what you're learning and what you're letting go could be a connection that you're ending, and it doesn't have to be. It's all individual. These are themes that can play out. Your belief systems, what you were before versus where you're going to be in 6 months, are going to be totally different. Some of you, where you're living, you may choose not to live there any longer. So Jupiter energy again, and Sagittarius eclipse, really coming to terms with the past and letting it be to the point where you're energetically moving forward. And this can link to the last 32 years for all of us. So some of us, that is our whole lifetime, and for me, it's less. I'm getting older these days. But some of you actually may be looking at trade and business and working with different countries and looking at what you would need to fine-tune if it's business related. Others of you, when it does link to connections and love, it's looking at your belief systems and where you want to go. Some of this can be deeply conflicting. So, does where you want to be and what you've been doing mesh? And if not, after this eclipse, tying up those loose ends, you will find that you're kind of conflicted about where to be, and that's okay, because at the moment with Venus in shadow, it's perfectly normal for this to be. If you don't have all the answers, don't pressure yourself. Again, 5 is all about change. What would you need to do? Do some research. If you do feel you need help with it, feel free to book a reading, and we can look at either your career, your romance, and we can link it and how it relates. But overall, there is conflict about this. You don't know quite what to do or how to see it. And again, with the religious energy there, it could be your belief systems to do with the past tense connection and what to do with that. But there's a tying up of energy nevertheless. Some of you, I do feel, will also want to move, however it relates. Okay. So overall for you guys, Aries, I feel you guys are moving. If it does link to romance, let me just look here. 3rd house, a lot of communication about what you do and don't want. And I do feel psychologically, we've got Black Moon, Lilith, and Pisces. I think you guys are mulling over it in your mind. Now, Taurus, you got 8th house placement there, guys. A lot of coming to terms with, this could be even like, and I'm just picking it, with the 8th house placement, a lot of you over the next year and a half are going to really be learning a very interesting lesson, but really looking at the aspect that you guys needing to be and learning to be healthily codependent on situations, really looking at the energy of what needs to change. And you've got the Uranian energy there still moving into 2021. What you need to change in order to have that spiritual growth. This can be you going through a spiritual awakening. It can also be 8th house is very Pluto. It's births, deaths, endings. It can be inheritance, legacies, really looking at the future of what you want to leave for your children, what you want to actually stand for as a human being. There's a lot of transformations happening there. So, you know, from a monetary point of view, there could be something in a sense of a document or information coming to you. Others of you might be looking at this and reaching a closure point with people that are passed over. And what you're going to be moving forward, something kind of triggered you to a point where moving forward with these nodal energies and the eclipse, by the time you look at yourself in 6 months, it will be in a very different space. So remember what's coming up for you in the next 2 weeks. Jot it down, write a date on it, put a note in your calendar on your phone, and go back and see how far you've come and what those themes were, and then re-jot it down. Overall for you guys, what's coming up? Yeah. Maybe many of you had really, like, you had great beginnings financially and then it kind of went sour. And you don't want to live a life, you know, for a sacrifice and the end of point of a situation, yes. If you're saving up for something or something to that degree, it makes sense. But I just feel as though, again, there may not have been money given to you or a partner, or you may not have been considered in a family will or inheritance for some of you, if that directly relates. Because this is where it's sort of like give and take, but at a very karmic level, I can actually say during this Venus shadow, some of this information can be closing out, some of it can be coming back to you in a very good positive sense. So it doesn't have to be negative things, guys. It can be very positive things coming towards you during this time. Whatever you're going to deal with, it will close out and kind of transform, but it's directly transforming you. I do feel healthy independence coming through for you guys over the next 6 months, really making major plans, potentially with business, work, finances, and working together with people who want to work with you. But overall, there can be some maybe making closure with family members and siblings. And, you know, talking over these things or something at a situational shift coming up. If you do need to spiritually let go of something, it would be a good time to actually write it down on a piece of paper and burn it and let it go. Good time to really, you know, you could charge water, which could give you an energetic detox because it's supercharged and it's a full moon. Probably not the best time to go out and socialise right about now, only because, you know, what happens at full moons. Anywho, Gemini. Where's we at? Oh, God, okay. Gemini. You guys, you know, maybe you were giving a lot to relationships. Maybe, you know, in a positive sense, connections and reassessments. You've got 7th house placement with Sagittarius. If you're tying up a contract, or again, at a karmic level, if you've left a position at work, or you've left a person, or you've, you know, had to really reflect on that, it's Libra energy as well as Venus and as well as Sagittarius. So it's sort of bringing all of those energies together. Relating into work, moving forward for the next year and a half, there can be massive growth at a financial level when you're working with the right individuals. Also making healthy decisions and trusting in yourself a lot more. I do feel some of you also may meet somebody around the time of this transit, especially since you do have Venus, you know, Venus aspects as well as Sagittarius. Now, some of you might be thinking of people of past, but you are moving forward and you're really choosing that. It's more the person, it could be somebody who's quite famous as well. Some of you might meet somebody who is quite famous. I'm also seeing you guys to become quite famous directly through this. At a financial level, I'm seeing abundance come towards you and family and love, but it's a lot of work over the next year and a half, and I do feel if you keep quite focused with Scorpio in your 6th house at the moment, your health might be a bit iffy. That is because we are in the underrealm at the moment. We do have, you know, planets retrograde as well, almost 7 planets this month. Very heavy energy, 2 eclipses in 1 month, and then moving over to the following another. And we're tying those nodal energies out, having the first very eclipse of, you know, in the node of Sagittarius, by having that, because we're needing to look at something and we're needing to let it go to move forward and transform. Now, you guys overall, I do feel this is beneficial. This is a huge karmic lesson. I do feel if you have left a connection and you feel it doesn't resonate, allow it to transform. You know, let a bird free. If it's truly yours, it'll come back again. This could have already happened as well. And if you weren't happy and you let something go, you know, this is balancing, closing a cycle out. But many of you, it's just all these lessons. You can still be very positive in a connection. We did have Juno in that energy, moving direct. So to a degree, many of you are making decisions, but it can be very busy for you guys. So you do need to keep quite balanced. And I do feel really follow your intuition on, you know, your hunches right now, because having that Scorpio placement, I do feel many of you are looking at health-related dynamics. You know, what's healthy? What are the trends? How do I need to look at this situation? Again, it's very, although it's 7th house placement, it's who can you grow with. You know, if you can't, you can't. If you can, you can. This is drawing a line in the sand. Some of you are choosing that. If they choose you, or if you choose them. But business is very highlighted for you guys. Big changes for you guys. I'm just looking. Okay, when it does come to assets, yes, again, towards the end of the month, white goods and things to that degree can be coming up. Now, Cancer, you guys are going to have the eclipse towards the end of the month, but we're talking about the Sagittarius energy. Your health can be really coming up at the moment. You know, looking at diet, looking at your routine, looking at your workload. You know, is it balanced? Is there something you need to fine tune? Is your energy having enough time to get grounded? Because you are moon energy, all these eclipses will hit you. That can be good and bad. It doesn't have to be bad. But at a psychological level, you do need to get a few days either side to get to a place where you can get grounded. You can use tourmaline. You can use amethyst to actually help with your downloads, to be clear. Good time to clear the energy in your house, Cancer, and also so that you can come back to your sacred space and feel more grounded. Many of you are just not going back over old ground. You know, you want to be alone. You want to be separate from toxic energies. And again, it can be shyness. I'm actually seeing that you feel quite alone. You know, you might be working too much. So it can be a time where it's actually highlighting, you know, in all this work you've been doing, because your shadow sign's Capricorn, right? So in your relationships, I think this lesson is really how lonely that made you feel, that when you're balanced and your home and your love life is great, you're fine. You have work and love in balance, but you really do need team energy inside your relationship. And your 7th house is actually Capricorn. So many of you at a very karmic level, if you felt these people were very toxic, you really need a deeply accountable person in a relationship. And if you don't find that, and they're not that kind of, you know, yin and yang of you, it really won't work for you. So there has been this huge transformative sense that's come through for you. And I do feel you're really looking at the bigger picture. So, you know, this separation, you're looking at the wounds connected to it, whatever this is. This could be past romantic partners that didn't take direct accountability. It can be very toxic people that you had in your life as well, be it on your side of the fence or theirs. You could be in the most blessed connection, but there can be some wounds even from childhood coming up. Now, overall, you may be meditating at the moment, both on yourself and the energy of Sagittarius, which is okay. How do I build my career, my finances? Where are my work ethics at? Is my health in alignment, and is this best suited? So some of you may choose that this isn't completely for you. Too many. There's a lot of reflection with you guys. I might have to do a whole reading based on just Sagittarius and Cancer. Yeah, just, you know, not getting enough time at home. Now, this missed opportunity, and I pulled 2 for Cancer because, number 1, did I do Sagittarius here? I might pull a few for Sagittarius as well. Overall, this is for Cancer as well as the collective, okay? Now, home, again, you guys are the home sign, right? The disruptions at home and having to work. So it's really coming through. You're not able to be at home, but you're not able to be at work either. It's like You want both. You want both. You want balance at home and balance at work. You want both. If you can't have that, it won't work. So I do feel you guys have done a lot of work on that. You've done a lot of meditating. And we're going to see what this outcome is. Get out of town. The moon. Complete clarity. Okay, I'm telling you, by the end of this month, you're going to be a very different person. Whatever has happened over the last year and a half, 2 years, you've seen all you need to see. All right? I do feel you guys are going to have complete clarity by the end of this cycle. It can be just a crossroad where you see the reality of a situation. Now, if you're in a relationship and it's balanced, it will be fine. If there's external influences, this can be a change. Some of you are meditating upon, this push, pull, isolation. Yes, if you're not happy, you won't be in the situation. Some of you actually are missing partner energy, but it's almost like it's due to burdens. It doesn't have to be a negative thing. Some of you at the higher frequency, it can be to do with the fact that you're really busy. Others of you, if it's something that didn't pan out, you're seeing the direct light and the divine reason why that separation and home and change of homes and all of this had to happen to get you to where you are. But I do feel a lot of clarity is going to come to you by the end of this month. Yeah, anything you didn't see, it's going to come up. But if you ignore it and you know what it is, you're going to be very calming. Don't be doing that, Cancer. Okay, Sagittarius. Again, I'll pull a few cards for Sagittarius. Okay, Sagittarius, what do we need to know? First house placement. A lot of who you are is going to change. Now, that old you need to actually go and sit with self. I would say that. When we look at the first house placement, the way the world sees you and what they require of you and the way you see yourself, that's all going to change over the next year and a half. Also, your viewpoint of what growing is, what spirituality is, how your siblings are, all of this is coming to a crossroad. Now, this can bring a bit of depression up. Now, even astrologers say when you're having your birthday, usually the moon is in your zodiac during that month. And so the funny thing is you usually don't feel that great. It's because you're having a soul upgrade. You're having a lunar return. So if anything that's been coming up for you at a spiritual nature, be it connected to your siblings, your connection with them, with your growth and your finances and where you're going, it's understandable. So just sit with self, see what's coming up, see where you've been. And I do feel this is like a drawing a line in the sand. It's like and it's more you knowing you've outgrown a way of being. Whatever's coming up, it needs to come up to be purged, but who you're going to be in a year and a half is going to be fantastic. Going through that can be a bit challenging. Looking at these aspects of your connection to money, who you are, your vibration, your spirituality, it's going to change. This can even be writing down something and letting it go. Again, as I mentioned, like writing it down on a note, maybe just learning to actually say how you feel. Now, let's look at your sixth house. All these changes are triggering you. You got the Uranian energy there, Taurus, okay? So, yes, knowing what you need to do. Change maybe has actually triggered you. Also, like I said on Facebook, be careful what you indulge in. Where's Pisces? Let me have a look at that. Sagittarius. Okay. Pisces in the fourth house. A lot of psychology coming up for you. Is home balanced? Pisces energy can be interesting in placements. If your home is balanced, when we had Chiron in Pisces, through some of my clientele, there was a gentleman that I had as a client for 2 years, and he worked with, I'm not saying this is so, I'm just giving you a direct example. I did notice during that transit, people that had addictions and things to that degree, it did amplify it. Now, 12th house can link to that. You know, if we're not coping, it can be psychology, it can be substance, it can be things to that degree, alcohol. It's very important that it can be very spiritual as well, but it's psychology in that area of your home. So, you know, if home-related dynamics from childhood moving forward weren't so great, it's looking at that. It's also the current direct situation, assessing the home, seeing if it's vibrating, you know, at a vibrational level, very peaceful, very calm, and what you need to do to change those things. Can even be core wounds and belief systems about what home should look like. Again, it can be due to conditioning in childhood. What do you got on your cards? Don't give your power away. You know, it's almost like sometimes when we're going through a transformation, these emotional triggers, frustration of how you wanted life to be, frustration with family, siblings, 4th house placement, health, be careful during Mercury in shadow. Neptune is going retrograde June the 23rd, although you'll feel that 1 to 2 weeks before, because we do have Black Moon, Lilith and Pisces already. So your shadow energy is sometimes you might find that you get triggered at the moment, and the benefiting energy can be you looking at what you can do to alleviate those things. So there's always challenges within things, but usually you get the 1st house through to about the 7th house that is directly in our control, and the lessons and things we do, and then we kind of learn lessons from it. Anything beyond that point is sort of external, so what happens to us. And after that, we're hoping from the 1st to the 7th is what we've learned and what we've got inside us, and then we directly have to deal with the spiritual aspects of that. Now, currently at a very spiritual level, you could be really moving to the underrealm, and so it does make sense. We currently have Venus in shadow, which goes to the underrealm of Scorpio, very Mars. Your 12th house is currently in that area. So at a psychological level, if you're keeping things quiet, if you're mulling over things that were hidden from you and they're coming up in your mind's eye, it also can be very creative, and you know, like you get hunches as to what will be great. So it is hidden, but it can be hidden inside you, or you're hiding it from somebody else. Again, with it being your 1st house placement, there's a lot of energy of you reflecting. But in order to move forward, it's like facing these energies and making a physical choice. Now, like I said, you do have 6th house in Taurus. If you want to make these changes and you want the luxuries and you want the hopes and dreams, because you're all Jupiter energy, it's what you would need to do. What you would need to change, how you would need to shake things up and evolve in order for that to happen. Now, because you're Sagittarius, you're almost like 11th house placement, you can achieve those things. It's been a bit hard because we have had Jupiter in Capricorn. So this eclipse can be a bit interesting for you. Okay, looking at, okay, what is the outcome of the 1st moon and the 2nd, please? So the eclipses for Sagittarians and the collective. Okay. Something to do with codependent pattern here. Somebody may depend on you. You may have to have been it. Or, you know, you may want everything to stay the same. And that's really what I'm picking inside, because nervous energy, it's nodal energy. It's your 1st house placement. It can be a little bit hard to let go of something. Codependency also with the 12th house. Remember what I mentioned in your health house. You've got the 4th house, has Pisces. That can be to do with triggers and emotions and us trying to use things to handle. It can be food, etc. But you do have Taurus as well, luxuries. It can be, look, I can't stay awake, I need a coffee. It can be something so bloody basic. But again, look at it. Make sure that you're not busting your neck to have all the luxury things. You know, look at the spirituality of it. Is it in balance? Does that make sense? Is what we want rational, and is it in balance, and do we actually need it? So it's sort of looking at everything from a very, okay, let's evolve view. Capricorn, I do have to go shopping today, so I'm really pushing it today. It's almost 3. Capricorn, for you guys, your eclipse is next month. you do have the eclipse in your 12th house. Now, letting something go. It's called... You're going to have an interesting year and a half if you haven't already, and I really feel bad for you. But, you know, it's everything about growth and money and family and siblings and all of this over the next year and a half. Again, you have so many tools inside your head now. So it's usually when you get to the 12th house, it can be very spiritual. It also can be thinking back over your career sector, your finances, how you grew with people, how you've grown as a person. At first it won't feel fab, but it's very similar to Sagittarius. You spiritually inside are changing now. You're going to do, it's almost like peeling the onion back, and who you will be moving forward. It's huge, different, like you're moving into a different world now. And it's funny because we were talking about the underworld, where's Scorpio, 11th house, I told you. You're moving away from the tactile and moving into the spiritual. And it doesn't mean you won't have money. You're balancing it now. You're either going to or about to learn something very large. So for you guys, it's great. Okay, it may not feel such, but spiritually there's something in your mind you need to let go of. You also, it might be connecting in with connections that didn't go the distance, how that made you feel. Being a full moon, it can be a letting go, a purging and ending of thinking. It's also when you're regressing back and you're looking at the past day, you're gaining something from it. Come back to this one moment, take a moment to evolve that, to, resolve it, or just make peace with it. Don't try to make sense of 100% of where you're going, because during Neptune retrograde, it just won't make sense. Do what you can on the 3D, but moving forward, it will get better. Aquarius, 11th house, finances, your relationship to money and the way you see things and the way you see, even the way you see your family, your siblings, what they need versus what you need. Where you're growing, what career you want to bounce into, how to generate income, all of that, and some bills coming back. So if you've tied up your bills, great. There can be some money going out during this time in the next 2 weeks, but where you go and what you're going to do moving forward, it will be quite beneficial, and it's a great aspect. So this can be some strength, tying up those loose ends, moving forward, getting that savings plan in order, also choosing who you want to be with and who you feel is that deep spiritual connection. So again, I am feeling this is quite positive for you. Pisces, okay, 10th house, your career sector's highlighted. Closing out duties at work. Maybe some of you are looking at it and going, okay, have I done all I can? Is this the department I want to be in? Is this over? What do I do? And I do feel, for some of us that aren't working at the moment, they do have maybe jobs we want to return to. A lot of us at a very psychological level, especially with Neptune going retrograde, can be assessing that. Let me look. You also will have the hit on your 6th house, so pay attention to your health, because it's Sun and Moon with an eclipse, and we have Leo in the 6th house. Also, it's funny because some of you might be moving into being a boss, I'm sensing. Some of you may wish to actually be an owner of your own kind of, doing your own thing. If you're currently working for another person, try and gradually move into that. As I mentioned, Saturn is currently in Aquarius. At the end, moving into 2021, we will have Saturn in that placement, but we're going to have Jupiter there too. And you'll find it will flow a little bit better. It will be extremely hard work. So if you can balance the both, just in a sense of protection of self, it would bode better. Also, you may end up getting some money coming back from maybe a government body, a contract or something to that degree, but you do have the 11th house of Capricorn there. Yeah, I'm feeling you guys, look, there's positivity there when it does come to your career. If you have been at a higher frequency, maybe you've gained some skills and there is an ability to do something different, but maybe you've been really having that negative talk. And I do feel, with Gemini energy being in Venus, some of us are really negatively talking about real hard, horrible situations we've had happen. Hi, Andrew. And sometimes this negative talk can directly affect our throat chakra and our third eye. So what do we get with the moon? It's the crown. With the ego, it's the third eye, because we're thinking of it. 7 planets retrograde, 7 stages of healing, and throat chakra, Mercury. So how we talk about our relationships, how we're talking to people, you will tend to find, and I looked at this the other day, if you're having headaches and neck aches, it does link to throat and third eye. And it's more to do with your perspective and perception of yourself, and potentially even you negatively talking about other people, or you negatively having self-talk. And it's sort of like you're going through an egoic purge. So really transforming that. Hard during these retrogrades, hard during this, shadow energy of Venus and Mercury. But being mindful, practice, I'm not talking perfect, practice becomes, an art. And if you can manage it, it does actually help. Any quick questions while I'm here? Because I do need to run before everyone turns up home, and I've really done nothing but work all day. What do you need to know, Dale? I got them done. I got Facebook, I got YouTube, and I got my clients done. And I've got a full day tomorrow. How are we all? With my astrology right now, no, but maybe in the next 12 months, right? But more from a perspective of what I'm doing. Because I've got the third, I've got to look at my birth chart. It's different to the collective, but yeah, Sagittarius in the third house. It's funny, traveling, movement, and talking, I can gain money from, and spirituality, not religion. How did I get plumped hair, right? I was working in community and nursing before I learned astrology. And where do I have Cancer? My 10th house in my career sector. And it's funny because I have Moon in Cancer, and I've got the Libran energy, which Venus is currently retrograde. Funny enough, my Venus house is Scorpio, so I was already down there. Oh my God. Mark was laughing. I talked to him this morning. I was like, you can't make this up. It's funny. Okay, so karmically speaking, whatever's brewing in the collective at the moment, it's not that all of this necessarily is sort of divinely guided. But whatever the outcome is, it's definitely creating destiny. I did read the chart of Mr. Floyd, and I will be doing a video on it at some point. I'm trying to get other family members' aspects, because I do feel the family is going to be very important. Very unique chart, very unique chart. Hi, Dale, how are you? So, yeah, just be very cautious. I mean, I usually don't, give warnings or anything to that degree, but because I did psychically channel the general reads, and I was picking Scorpion energy up, plus the shadow of Venus can be very malefic. We're in the underground, and that did come up in the twin flame read as well. Both of you had Scorpio energy. This being the Witch's Cauldron, it's almost like, shadow work. It can be, it's dark energy. I'm just saying, in black, what do we link to black with? Obstinate and Tumberline, psychic protection. Neptune's retrograde. Be careful of our thoughts. Really be careful. You surely can. Family drama. What's happening, sweet? Well, remember, you're a Scorpio, only because you're my friend and you're my client. Plus we've got Venus in the underworld, and we're Scorpio. I've got Scorpio Venus, you're Scorpio. So we're in the underrealm. Venus is technically a retrograde shadow, which is malefic. We're in the underground. People are triggered, man. People are maybe not seeing eye to eye. Saturn is more father figure energy. Pluto is more mother and grandmother energy, and they're retrograde too. Plus, spiritual beliefs, very Sagittarius energy. So if people are arguing about religion and culture and colour, and the nodes are there for a year and a half. Donald Trump's nodes, he has the nodes in Gemini and Sagittarius. I'm really researching the nodal energies the more I'm getting to know it. I'll do a reading on it, okay? I'll do a video on it. It's very normal. Just at the moment, you might need a little bit of soul healing, keeping away from people. Don't take things personal. We're not reacting in a natural format. Somebody's here. No. It's usually people at a lower frequency who are getting their karma. I'll talk to you tomorrow anyway. Message me. Okay, sweet. Yeah, it's people getting there. It's not if you've been fine, you're fine. Okay? If anyone's needing the book and go to the link, I have to answer the door. I'm sorry.